they came after him and tried to prosecute him. They subsequently dropped that. That would set an unbelievable precedent to attack freedom of speech. But here's what Julian Assange points out. He says he's been jailed without trial for over 2 years. He faces 8.5 more years in jail. His next sentencing hearing now has been moved to January. It was supposed to happen this week. And he says he wanted to comment on this because it involved him personally and WikiLeaks. He said the 2 charges against him occur as a direct result of his journalistic work on our Stratfor materials, anonymizing his sources and talking with others about the material that they provided to him. He says these charges are at odds with national and international protections for the freedom of the press and freedom of expression. He said the 3rd charge concerns his speech acts after the FBI threatened to charge his mother unless he handed over his source materials, and there's no other charges. So now let's talk about this 3rd charge. The FBI goes to his mother's home in March of 2012. His mother is hiding his journalistic notebooks, they say, in her pots and pans. They find it, and they put her on 6 months probation. She goes before the judge and says, my better judgment was clouded by my maternal instinct. Then he says that Barrett reacted to this in an angry way, and like any kid from America in Generation Y, his anger was expressed on social media. Listen to what Julian Assange says about social media. This is the takeaway quote, I think, that is really impressive. He says, Twitter is a police interview that never ends. Facebook has all of your friends wearing a wire. YouTube has you in the dock talking to the judge. You got that? Twitter is a police interview that never ends. Facebook has all of your friends wearing a wire, and YouTube has you in the dock talking to the judge. Now, what did he put up on social media that was so outrageous? And this is the thing that I think is really outrageous. They say 6 months after they raided his mother's address, he tweeted, quote, illegally shoot the son of a bee, the SOB. Okay, and he says that sounds like incitement to murder, doesn't it? Clearly does. The FBI claims that the SOB that Barrett was referring to was one of their agents, but he says that's false. The SOB is me, Julian Assange. He said the person who called for my assassination was not Barrett Brown. Barrett's full retweet was, quote, dead men can't leak stuff, illegally shoot the SOB. And that was a quote from Fox News host Bob Beckel, who had called for the assassination of Julian Assange. Do you get how twisted this is? He points out, in kind of a piece of irony, that Bob Beckel has called for the assassination of Julian Assange. And the FBI twists that and says, well, we think that's a threat against one of our agents. He points out that the FBI never took any action against Bob Beckel or any of the other senior officials who've been calling for his assassination, including politicians. But 2 days after Barrett retweeted the Bob Beckel statement, they arrested him. They arrested Barrett Brown, not the person who'd made the statement, and he says he's been in jail ever since. See, that's the kind of police state we have to fear. That's why we need to be concerned about this article that I talked to Paul Joseph Watson about earlier in the week about the Beware program that goes in and assigns a threat level to people based on their social media comments, based on their purchasing history, based on whatever our police state government wants to make up about people. And of course, they can make up anything they want about anybody and make it stick. That's the essence of a police state. We've had William Binney on numerous times. That's not just us making this claim. That's the guy who was the global technical head of the NSA, who became a whistleblower, who said that they were acting like the East German police, the Stasi, as well as the KGB, people he had been following for decades, trying to prevent them from doing the types of things that dictators do in our country. But he knows how they operated in their country because he observed them for decades. He first said we're this close to a police state, and now he is saying many months ago, we're already there. We're operating exactly like the Stasi. How do we stop this? How do we stop it when the California Highway Patrol comes out and says that they are a paramilitary organization, and before you apply for a job, you need to ask yourself, are you comfortable working for a paramilitary organization? Do you have military experience that you can bring to the civilian police force? It doesn't mean anything to have posse comitatus if our police, our military, we already have a standing army. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Alex Jones as soon as we establish contact with him on the road. He'll be right back.
Do you have relatives and friends that are convinced there is no need ever to prepare for any kind of emergency? Are these also folks you buy Christmas presents for? At 30dayfoodsupply.com, we can solve both of these problems at the same time. Go to 30dayfoodsupply.com or call 541-229-0010. We can ship your Christmas presents directly to them. Choose from our original $99 30-day food supply, our long-term storage vegan burger mixes, and other oatmeal, soups, porridges, beans, and granolas for everyday use. All products are non-GMO, MSG-free, and vegetarian. Most are gluten, soy, and nut-free. Call 541-229-0010 today. Oregon Trail Foods and 30dayfoodsupply.com keep prices low, cutting out the middleman by buying directly from their producers in Oregon. Remember, only $10 ships your entire order to the lower 48. Visit the website 30dayfoodsupply.com. Call 541-229-0010. 30dayfoodsupply.com, 541-229-0010.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Hi folks, Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his 2-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
Hey everyone, I'm having lots of fun with my new Ghost 80% AR-15. This baby shoots like a dream. Hey, thanks Guns80.com. You know, friends ask me all the time why I wanted a Ghost AR-15. That's easy. You see, my buddy Mark kept telling me that I'd better go to Guns80.com and get myself a Ghost AR-15 before they outlawed them. I thought he was just paranoid, so I ignored him. Well, at first. But then I started hearing government media types talking about making guns illegal, about the president signing on to a UN treaty that could take my gun rights away. You know, it really bugged me, so I dug in, I did the research, and I realized that Mark was right all along. I know now that having an unregistered Ghost AR-15 is the right answer. I'm a proud 80% Ghost AR-15 convert, you should be too. The answer is really simple. Get your Ghost AR-15 at Guns80.com. The big sale is on right now. Go to Guns80.com, that's Guns80.com, Guns80, the number's 80.com.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin. We're going to be joining Alex Jones, or actually he's going to be joining us from the road in a few minutes. We were just talking in the last segment about Julian Assange's comments about Barrett Brown, who was supposed to be sentenced this week. They've now moved it to January. An amazing admission as to how the FBI twisted a tweet to try to put this guy in prison for years. And of course, he has served in prison for years, waiting trial, awaiting sentencing. I want to play the quote from the Fox News commentator who says we need to assassinate the SOB, and he basically reposted that as a tweet. The FBI said he was threatening FBI agents. Rather, he was putting out a quote from Fox News commentator Bob Beckel, who was never approached by the FBI for threatening to kill Julian Assange or suggesting that he should be assassinated. Instead, they twist that to say that that was about an FBI agent, perhaps an unnamed FBI agent, and are still trying to charge him with that. We're going to play that report. Before we do, I want to let you know that the Essential Holiday Health Pack special, which ended yesterday, has been extended by Alex Jones for 1 day. We had just a 2-day special. Our December 17th was our cutoff date because we wanted to guarantee that we could get it to you by Christmas, but Alex has added additional staff. He's got them working around the clock, so we've added 1 more day to that special. It's Secret 12, X2, Nascent Iodine, and Silver Bullet, all 3 for only $59.99. That's nearly $80 off the retail price, a 57% savings. That's Secret 12, our B12 Nutraceutical, Survival Shield X2, Iodine, and Silver Bullet for 1 more day. That's all 3 of those for just $59.99. Let's go to that quote from Fox News. Let's go to the play that clip, and this is what wound up being used against Barrett Brown. Let's play that clip.
In the national security of the United States, the way to deal with this is pretty simple. We got special ops forces. I mean, the dead man can't leak stuff. This guy's a traitor, a treasonous, and he has broken every law of the United States. The guy ought to be, and I'm not for the death penalty, so if I'm not for the death penalty, the only one to do it, illegally shoot the son of a.
Well, what about it?
Oh, I can't believe I believe it. I'm along with Bob. You know what? When he comes out and says that he's holding everyone hostage, that he's going to release the names of people, putting them in harm's way.
It's not just Bob Beckel; it's the entire Fox News staff, and they're seriously, they're not just throwing this thing out there. Reminds me of when Alex Jones was on CNN. They just said, you know, shoot the guy and do it in uniform. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. These guys, you can't even say that they're joking about it. They're very serious about it. And what he said was, dead men can't leak stuff. And so Barrett Browning puts out, dead men can't leak stuff, ... illegally shoot the SOB. The FBI comes after him and says, you're trying to kill FBI agents. That's what they're trying to send him up for years for. That's what he's already served 2 years for, why he may already go another 8.5 more years. Do you see how the government is lying and twisting that? We should all be very concerned when we have a government that can lie like that and get away with it. We should be concerned regardless of what you think about any of this stuff. And I think that WikiLeaks did the world a favor when they exposed criminal actions. They're not the bad guys. The bad guys who are shooting people from a distance in the streets, civilians and cameramen, and laughing about it, they're the bad guys. But they don't go to jail. It's the whistleblowers they come after, just as we saw with Julian Assange. Now, we have another interesting thing that's come out as this torture report, this whitewashing of what's going on. What Feinstein is trying to do is absolve herself as well as the rest of the politicians from any involvement in this, saying they were deceived, they were lied to by the CIA, putting it all on the CIA because she knows that in a police state like we have now, nobody is going to lay a hand on the CIA. Maybe. We'll see about that. Here's an interesting quote from John Yoo. Now, he is the guy who, as he was working, he was a lawyer working for the Bush administration, who said that it might be legal for the president to order an innocent child's testicles to be crushed. Now he thinks what the CIA did might be illegal. This is reported by Connor Friedersdorf of The Atlantic, and he points out that former CIA Director Michael Hayden said that it needs to be said that on multiple occasions, all the techniques were determined lawful by the Department of Justice and judged appropriate for the circumstances. But there was an interview on CNN, and the interviewer asked John Woo, he said, when you read this report and you read about the techniques that were used, forced rectal feeding, agency officials threatening to rape the mothers of prisoners, people with broken limbs being forced to stand for hours and hours deprived of sleep up to a week, doesn't that strike you as torture? And he says, well, that's very troubling examples. They would never have been approved by the Justice Department. That was a partisan report. And the guy comes back and says, well, okay, yeah, but it actually was taken out of the CIA's own documents. We're going to be right back. We'll finish with this. We're running out of time. But even though it was taken out of these documents, it still makes it true, even if it was cherry-picked. We'll be right back. Alex Jones will be joining us.
We're on the march. The Empire.